Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we want to take a look at my season start and how we did so far. And actually there's a huge difference in the bases and how they look like. So most likely you guys can see a couple of different bases what I showed you guys at the end of the last season. And maybe you guys are more familiar with the bases which I will show you guys today and show you how to triple those. And then one quick reminder as well, since the Go Pass is ending really soon, so I think, yeah, in like 3 days and 17 hours. So as soon as the Go Pass is ending, and if you guys are considering buying the new one, make sure to use creator code iTzu if you want to support me or the channel and what I'm doing over here. It's pretty easy, just type in iTzu over there. It doesn't really matter whether it's small or big letters. And just a quick reminder, this code expires every 7 days. So if you might have typed it in 1 week ago, make sure that you still have the creator code activated. But now let's get started with the first attack, and this one is going to be one of those teaser bases. And if you're attacking with Queen Charge Hybrid, you most of the time want to get into the Town Hall first, because the only thing which you have to take out with the Queen Charge is the Town Hall. After that, you can once again transition over to a different siege machine and just the hybrid in from the flank of the queen basically. So I will show you guys exactly how we do this. First off, one coconut loon, obviously. Most of the traps are most of the time over there, especially in the beginning of the season. Most people try to trap those guys who are attacking over there, even though it's kind of obvious to be honest. But either way, what we're doing over here, first taking out all of the skeletons, and then we can get deeper into the base. Then obviously like making sure that there's nothing else in there in the compartments. We have to freeze the expos and the Sing Inferno Tower, making sure that we get the wall break done, even though the giant bomb messed up everything a little bit. But we have more wall breakers to go, so let's send them in. Freeze the scatter shot just to make sure that we can reach the town hall, because like I said, the only and the biggest thing we want to get with this Queen Charge is the enemy town hall. As soon as the town hall is down, everything else is like super easy. So we are going for the town hall. As soon as the town hall is going down, we know that we're looking pretty good. The next thing is just place the king for the funnel at the flank and then the hybrid in between. We do not care that the queen is actually going that direction, like that's totally fine. The next thing what we're going to do is dropping the slammer to the flank as well. We could use the siege perks as well, but I feel like the slammer sometimes is opening up way more, is leading the king into the compartments as well, which makes it way better. We have not looted any clan castle, but most of the time you can just get rid of the clan castle with the royal champion and the poison. So far it's looking really good. Warden ability to make sure that everything is staying alive. Our Yetis are now inside of the base as well, dealing some damage and creating really nice pathing for everything. And one more important thing is with the slammer, even though we could have used the siege breaks as well, but with the slammer we open up a lot of walls, which make sure that our queen can actually reach everything as well. So far everything is looking good, and this should be our first triple of the season. And like I said, those teaser bases, if you know what you have to go for, it's not that hard anymore. So yeah, for Queen Charge Hybrid, the key thing for all of those bases is the Town Hall, because the Town Hall is super trapped. So if you can work around the traps and get the Town Hall down, after that most of the traps are out of the way, and this means the Hybrid is going through the rest of the base easily, even though you might only have taken out 10% maybe of the base. So it doesn't really matter. As long as you can take out the town hall and the traps around there, you're pretty good to go. So this was the first base. I think we're jumping into the second one in a second as well. And well, like I said, sorry for like one more thing, which I asked you the last video was, I think, about the side button behind me. Most of you guys said you like it, so we will most likely keep this one for now. And well, let's see how it goes in the future, but for now we will keep it. Most of you guys seem to like it, so let's take a look at the next base. On the next base we have once again one of those ring bases, and I feel like they're more common at the bottom of the trophy range, and especially in the beginning of the season you can find a lot of those. And what makes them more like, or like, there are different styles of those ring bases. So at the bottom you can find more of those compact ring bases. For example, on this one, there's no dead zone around the town hall, which means if you have an earthquake or like a lot of jump spells with a Yeti smash, it's most likely that you're gonna get the second star at least. On the other hand, at the higher trophies, you can find a lot of dead zones around the town hall, making sure that you cannot reach the town hall that easily, and those are more complicated to attack. But on this one, what we're doing, we're using the Queen Charge on the right side. There's always this black mine on the right side, so you can always trigger it really easily with one loon. Baby Dragon funneling at the top, just making sure that the queen is actually going inside. Another rage, and then we can use the next set of wall breakers to get the next wall down. Just to make sure that our queen is actually going inside. If everything is working out right now, it kind of looks like she's not going to the inside. But let's see what is happening after the expo. She should, yeah, she's going inside, so everything is looking fine. So now the next thing what we're going to do is we let our queen decide which way she's going. As soon as she decided, what she just did is we're adding once again our hybrid to the queen, just to make sure, since we used most of the rages in a second, now we use all of the rages, we cannot make sure that our queen is dying. This has a lot of different reasons. For example, the first one is obviously that that the queen is a huge factor in the time, so she has to stay alive. And the next obviously thing is that we need her power wise. So as soon as we pass the 50% mark, or if you're better than I am over here, then you can try to time it better. So at the 50% mark, or right before that, you need to have the slammer in the core just to make sure that the slammer is taking out the town hall, and you want to save the healers. The healers are clutch and super important that they are staying alive. So this is why I froze the town hall over here. My Yetis would have easily gotten the town hall, so that wasn't the issue. I just wanted to have the freeze on the town hall just to make sure that my healers are staying alive and not getting melted by the town hall. And yeah, now we have our queen staying alive. On the outside, we have the minus because the king went onto the inside, sadly. Most of the time, the king is walking on the outside, making sure that all of the miners are staying inside the base. But on this one, we had the miners not going into the base, and instead they're now on the outside. But still, we have our queen still alive. We have a Yeti tanking the core, and this means this is going to be our next triple for the next season. So far we're looking pretty good, but let's take a look at the next base because we have 2 more attacks to go. This one is going to be the next base, and I think this is a kind of popular YouTube base as well. I faced this already many times, and there are a couple of different variations on how you can triple it. And the first thing what you should go for on this base is once again find one corner where you can start a queen charge, pretty much like on the last ring base. And as soon as the queen is deciding for one direction, you're wall breaking her in, letting her walk to the next corner, and then supporting her with the hybrid. So let's see on how this works. So the first thing, we're waiting for our queen to go for the air defense. Then one Kokodoon, healers in behind. So everything is looking good so far. Baby Dragon on the right side. This makes sure that our queen is actually going to the left, and then we can wall break her in. And yeah, well, I don't know why I dropped all of the wall breakers over there. Either way, we can wall break in her now, and we basically swag one rage at this second, which isn't too good for us. But either way, we can freeze the single Inferno Tower. So far, it's looking good. Queen can take out a couple of more buildings, and now we have to wait. We have to wait for her deciding which way she's going. If she's going to the right, that's totally fine. If she's going to the left, and this is what the queen seems to do right now, that's totally fine as well. The next thing what we're going to do is we wait for the clan castle to come out, and as soon as the clan castle is out, we're starting off with our hybrid, and once again the king on the outside. So this is what we're doing on basically every single ring base at the moment. So CC is coming out. We have we have 3 witches in there, it seems like. So poison is activated, and now we can start with the hybrid, royal champion, king in behind, hogs in behind. So far it's looking good. Once again, as soon as we're getting around the next corner, we're starting off with the hybrid as well, just to make with the blimp as well. Sorry, just to make sure that we're getting the town hall out of the way as well. So here we go with the blimp into the core. Warden is following now, so we can use the Warden ability not only for our troops, but as well for the blimp, just to make sure that it's reaching the town hall, because like I said, we have nothing else which is taking out the town hall. We rely on the blimp to take out the town hall, so this is super clutch for us. And well, so far it's looking really good. We have all of our hybrids still alive. We have no spells left anymore, but as soon as you pass like a certain area where with the heroes and everything, you do not need all of those spells anymore. It's like totally fine if you have not too many spells anymore to place. Our royal champion is getting ahead a little bit, but we still have our ability, so let's use that right now. Get a couple of more defenses out of the way, which means we have the freedom on the right side to place a couple of more wizards and a loon just to get a little bit more damage in. And now we have the miners coming in. There's only one Inferno Tower left, which means it has no chance against all of the miners which are on the right side. Even the Warden is tanking for our queen, so this is like going perfectly for us. Queen is taking out a couple of more ground skeletons, and this means the miners can take out the last Inferno Tower. So this is how I attack basically all of the ring bases right now. Break in at the corner, let the queen decide which way she's going, and as soon as she did that, we can go the next step basically to add the hybrid. So then once again, let's take a look at the last base, and this is kind of like a similar one. And this is more like a higher trophy ring base. You can see the dead zone around the town hall. It's way more tricky sometimes to get the town hall down, except when you're doing, I don't know, the queen charge hybrid I'm doing right now with always the Yeti blimp for the town hall. Then you basically do not care where the town hall is placed. So let's take a look at this one. We have our queen and the CC coming in on the right side, placing a wizard next to our queen just to make sure that time isn't any issue for us. And now CC is getting melted by the poison. So far it's looking really good. So the next thing what we're trying to do is let's try to get into the base, obviously, and then we can save the Yeti blimp for the tunnel later on. And once again, we're doing the same as always. All of those ring bases, break the queen in as soon as she can, as soon as she decided for one direction, and then just get started with the hybrid. So breaking the queen in, the queen got rotated onto the outside sadly, and there's another Tesla which is luring the queen out of the way, which is a little bit unfortunate. But well, so we have to react really fast. We have to use the king. 2 more black mines are coming into our healers. This is really, really bad for us. We have to use the king ability just to make sure that our queen is staying alive and she's going into the right direction, because we wanted her to go into the base. Otherwise we're missing out on so many defenses, and this is not that nice for us. So queen is going inside. King is basically wasted because we now have to wait where our queen is going, if she's going to the left or to the right, because once again we want to have the siege, the Yeti smash, not the Yeti smash, damn it, the hybrid getting and supporting the queen over here. There's one troll tester at the 6 o'clock corner. We have to use a couple of hawk riders over there. Then obviously the heroes in behind, and so far once again it's looking pretty okay, even though normally you want to have the king on the outside. But let's try to save that somehow. With all of the hybrid going in, it sadly is pushing our queen into the wrong direction, but we had to start with the hybrid because otherwise this could have been a huge time issue. So the hybrid is getting into the back end. Yeti blimp is in the core. We have to use our queen ability. Now we could use another rage for our queen, but I feel like the queen is dead anyway, so this is why I'm not saving a rage or anything for my queen. I'm just raging my hawk riders and my royal champion to make sure that we're getting into the back end easier. And yeah, now a freeze because we still have the freeze spell and we need to use it somewhere. And this is getting really close on time. Well, I think we might have gotten at this. And this is how we started off in the new season in Legend League. Let me guys know how you guys started, if you're in Legend League as well. How you like the Legend League right now. If you think like, if you could improve in Legend League one more thing, what would it be? Let me know down below in the comments. And I will see you guys back tomorrow for another video. Got the triple, let's go. See you tomorrow.